James Howell. This is the Deltahead stream with a new layout that hopefully is going to answer some of the needs that have arisen since becoming that whole Twitch affiliate thing. And yeah, it should have chat showing up there on the part that you can't see me pointing at, but it's down there. And over there at the bottom, you should see any kind of like notification or whatever. Follower, subscriber, anything that I should be verbally grateful for so that I don't miss it. So, Evening Arc, it's good to see you. Tonight we're going to do part 1 of Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker. Due to a slight typo in the announcement that circulated pretty widely, I meant to say Tuesday, but I said Saturday, and so what that means is that Evil Within 2 is going to move to Tuesday. We're going to finish that one, but yeah, because I told like the entire world that we're doing Metal Gear on Saturday, we're doing it tonight. And yeah, so pre-game show. It's been a pretty nifty week for media intake, I'll be honest with you. Finished up The Castle of Lear, the third in the Prydain books. These are kids' books based on Welsh mythology. My reading of the Mabinogion reminded me of it, prompted me to make follow the channels that I already knew from Welsh mythology, and I realized I hadn't finished reading the series, so I decided to jump in on that, and I have almost caught up with my old bookmark in Terran Wanderer, which is the 4th, and there's one more after that, so I'm hoping to finish that up this week, and finally put that reading project that I began, I want to say about 3 years ago, finally to rest. And yes, it is a very Metal Gear thing to happen to a Metal Gear stream. Beyond that, let's see. What did I watch here? Let's see, there was Sword of the Beast, which is very good, and I don't remember the guys' names, the guys' apostrophe, plural, names, but I think at least 2 of them were in 3 Outlaw Samurai, which is an excellent Jidageki movie. Highly recommend that. And Sword of the Beast is also very good. In addition to that, watched Kurosawa's Drunken Angel, which has, it's, I think, Mifune's first appearance in a Kurosawa film. Evening, Token, it's good to see you. It's been a while since you've shown up on a stream, so I'm really happy to see your name. But yeah, it's really good. It's a Yakuza movie, but not one of the glorifying Yakuza movies. Kind of in step with, actually also in step with Sword of the Beast. There's this shade thrown really hard on social organizations and expecting them to have your back, especially if you go out on a limb and do anything slightly suspect for them. And also watched Godzilla Raids Again, which is not quite the emotional gut punch that the first Godzilla was, but nonetheless is it's fun. They didn't understand that the big monster fight needs to be the thing that you pay attention to, and they spent like the last 30 minutes of the movie like bombing a mountain, which is like the least interesting thing I can think of, you know, following killing that giant ankylosaurus. And also got this. This was an early birthday present. I'm very happy with this. This is a set of shogi pieces. I was one of the founding members, though I would not call myself a founder, of the Seattle Shogi Club at the Seattle Go Center with fellow cohort Time Zombie, who shows up on stream from time to time to everybody's joy and celebration. And yeah, so I got that, and that actually reminded me, this is something I kind of want to show off. This is something that is not quite done yet, but I do like chess, and so this was a TV tray that I had used for many, many years, used as a drawing board, and I decided it was only appropriate to show my gratitude to the physical object by immortalizing it as a functional thing. So, as you can see, the squares are stained right here. I've started burning in the edges, so it's nicer than just the stain bleeding over. But the really cool thing, the part I'm really proud of, is the engravings on the side, which you can kind of see there. I did all that with a part of it with a wood burner when I needed the fine detail, and then you got one on the other side for your other one. And I also used a soldering iron when I needed the thicker lines. So kind of the back and forth is this one's got kind of a more organic plant-like feel, and this one's got kind of a more mechanical gearwork feel. And so yeah, pretty proud of this, and I just need to pull out that soldering iron and finish up getting the lines in, and then give it a good a good layer of, I prefer matte, but lacquer. And evening Shantae, it's good to see you, and evening Iceman Dan. So that brings us up to present, and I'm going to switch over to the TV. We can get started on Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker. I'm going to start this from a brand new save file. Peace Walker is the Metal Gear that I've actually spent the least time with, I think, especially story-wise. I actually think I've spent more time with Portable Ops than I did Peace Walker. Even though I beat Peace Walker twice, once on PSP and a second time on PS3. So this is, was talking with some stream regulars about which Metal Gear to do, and decided that this one was a preference among them, and also it is the one that would be most interesting to me personally to jump into. So yeah, gotta get this started. One sec. Replaying MPO, yeah. Yeah, it's really interesting. I also pulled up MPO. I found my old save file, and it was quite a trip down memory lane, because I've logged like 50 hours on it. Last save was like 2009. I've got several soldiers in there who are like the names of my friends in like grad school and stuff. So that was a nice look in the rearview mirror. And I also played a little bit of it, and I can really appreciate how much, MPO gets a lot of guff, and there is a sort of Metal Gear by numbers feel to it. But what it managed to do by sort of simplifying the controls down to a portable console was it gave Peace Walker a template to follow that made sense. And then once Peace Walker moved to the PS3, and it had access to a DualShock 3 controller, it was able to sort of open up to Metal Gear Solid 4 style controls. And the kind of the gameplay problems that they ran into there ultimately fed into Metal Gear Solid 5. So really, you really can't have Metal Gear Solid 5 as it exists today without Portable Ops. It's a strange lineage that doesn't always get the kind of attention that maybe it deserves. And Iceman Dan, Iceman Dan. I am not a big chess player. I am a chess player, though. I'm actually not very good at it. I get very impatient and start making moves based on intuition and feeling rather than, the way you should. Which is one of the reasons why shogi is very interesting to me, because once you take pieces, you can actually put them back into play under your own power. And there's a lot more room for fluidity there that suits my cognitive style. Evening Dream Bomb. Yeah, Peace Walker. We're gonna do it. Iceman Van Dam. That's right. You have your action movie name. Token, the level design. You like the level design in Portable Ops more, or Peace Walker? And I've got to say, I have broken my own heart with this game, in part because I cannot find my old save files for either PSP or PS3, and this is extremely unlike me. I archive everything data-wise, and it's driving me nuts. I can't find where my old save files are. So we are building up a new one. Shogi is a lot of fun. And with everything under lockdown, now more so under lockdown, if you are interested in learning, the Seattle Shogi Club, which Time Zombie, who shows up on streams, is a founder, and I am a founding member. It's a lower grade of participation, but I was there at the beginning. They're always eager to bring new folks on, so If you added bonus to that is if you play any of the Yakuza games, there's one more mini game that you're going to be able to ace. Yes, Dreambomb. Bringing soldiers to the truck was excruciating, and the update that they made to, I think, was it in the original Portable Ops, or was it in the MPO Plus, where you can drop the soldiers off by boxes of your comrades who are kind of in their little Yoshi eggs, waiting to burst out? You could use that as a way of hauling them back to the trucks. That made it better, but it still had a problem that I think the Fulton system executed in this, it solves the problem while keeping the mechanic. And then the Fulton system was, the problem with it in Peace Walker is that it's easily abusable. So while it is also abusable, too much fan humor in Metal Gear Solid 5, they, kind of iterated on it and made it less reliable, so it's not like a get-out-of-jail-free card. Oh yeah, Dreambomb, I was actually confused by that too when I got MPO Plus. I thought that it would have the base narrative in there, but it's not. It's just pure gameplay, which is fine. As I'm going back and revisiting it, that's what I'm looking for. Although there's a lot of really good Ashley Wood illustrations in there that we're actually going to see here. Ashley Wood, of course, is the artist, I think he's Australian, who did the Metal Gear digital graphic novel and Metal Gear Solid digital graphic novel and the second one. Both fine works. I agree, Iceman Dan. It is much better with Fulton. It did have interesting story moments in it, and I think that one of the things that it accomplished that I liked is it effectively resolved what happened with the Philosopher's Legacy. Okay, here we go. Let me put this on so I can hear what's going on. Oh yeah, so there's a new stream layout, as folks who are regulars will see, and I've had to replicate the old stream setup in Streamlabs OBS. I had to readjust some of the volume settings, so if there is ever a point where my voice and the game audio are conflicting uncomfortably, please let me know and I can correct that real quickly. No, MPO story-wise, let's see. No. That's not what I want. God, man, the PS3's cell phone text entry, I forgot how obnoxious this is to have to, I actually have to think about to do. Hold on. There we go. Yeah, I myself am thinking about playing through MGS4 after this as well. MGS4 is this sort of like weird middle ground hurrah between what Metal Gear became and was, coming from the 32-bit games. Monster Hunter Freedom. That's right, that was contemporary. So, yeah, this makes sense. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Wait. I know there's an option to change this to codec, which I guess I'll find once I get in there. There we go. I gotta turn the volume up on this 1 second. There we go. Evening Mexican Sting. I decided that I believe you and Dustin and Hobgoblin had a rousing discussion about which Metal Gear was the best to pick up, so I decided to go with this one. As I mentioned earlier, it's because I have the least time spent with the story on this one, meaning I only played it through start to finish twice, and it's more interesting to me to revisit. It's good to see you. And yeah, speaking to, let's see who mentioned. Yeah, Dreamball mentioned that the story in Portable Ops was sort of wiped away. I mean, I'm seeing a lot. I'm seeing the summarizing of MGS3 here, and I'm wondering if they're gonna. Yeah, MPO was like this weird sort of first stab at what the subsequent Metal Gear games consistently tried to be, which is like the missing link between old Big Boss Metal Gears and Metal Gear 1. And yeah, it's like every single one of them always manages to be just like, it's like Zeno's paradox, right? Like if you have something infinitely, you will never get 2 points together. That's kind of what the effort to create like the middle chapter always does. It's just never quite satisfying, which is a very Metal Gear thing to do. And I did not see a summary of MPO there, so. Oh yeah, Ghost Babel, I forgot about that. Feels really good to see the PSP poly count here at 60 FPS. Something vaguely dissonant about that. Well, I like to save Zeno's paradox for the important moments, you know. Barranquilla Coast. I think this was also the first game where they used the shaky cam. I think they used the standard video game Steadicam for a lot of the motion in Metal Gear Solid 4, but they brought that back for MGS5. Let me turn the volume on this down. Finally get this right. Yeah, Steve Bloom. Grant Albert. The end. I think that's a neat moment to introduce the comic style. Let's see. That's right. You don't have a knife in this. You have a stun gun.
Show 'em how it's done, boss. Your first priority in enemy territory is knowing your surroundings. Your life depends on where you are looking and how fast you can identify.
So I'm going to go through the tutorial only so far as it's interesting. I played it a little bit ahead of time, and it's really interesting because, like, in the other Metal Gear games, the tutorial is usually very intimate, very in your ear. Like, you know, like Campbell, press the action button, something, something, something. But this is like, you know, they did a smart thing with the VO where he's like actually shouting because he's outside and talking to a group of people. But it also manages just to be kind of abrasive and uncomfortable and unpleasant. Yeah.
You should be familiar with the left and right controls.
Evening, Space Hamlet. Yeah, CQC was tricky on the PSP. That was one thing that I think they, that simplification that I talked about with MPO, where they had to make that make sense with so few controls, carried over to this, and also, you know, became the sort of chain CQC feature that you see in Metal Gear Solid 5.
At times, you will need to get low to avoid detection.
Space Hamlet, I hope you grab that Big Mac. I remember the last couple of times you've gone out on that quest, it has turned into a chicken sandwich, so I wish you all the best luck.
Hold the crouch button and keep it held to lie down. However, you cannot move while you are lying down.
CQC, this is actually...
While lying down, is that clear?
The chain CQC can be overpowered, I agree. What do you want me to do here? Oh, crouch. Yep.
Next, we'll work on your movement.
But in many cases, this is the first Metal Gear game that I can think of. No, MPO had this thing as well, where like one CQC throw does not necessarily knock them out.
Your footsteps are louder when running, making you easier to discover.
I remember when you played as, you know, your regular grunt in in Metal Gear Online, your CQC wasn't as powerful as Snake's, and that was actually a special feature of Snake and Ocelot. Their CQC was just one hit, one KO.
Rolling is useful for knocking down enemies in your way, and for getting away when surrounded. You can also use it to jump over small ditches and other obstacles.
Yeah.
To roll, tap the crouch
Why do I
button
think I
while
can't?
running.
Why do you think you couldn't go prone? Yeah, I think it's probably part balance, and also I can only imagine that. So when you go prone, you're probably gonna want to shoot.
Boss, roll by tapping the crouch button while running with the left stick.
You're probably gonna want to shoot, and being able to stay on the ground and let's see, I had a thought on that, but I'm actually not sure I agree with it anymore. Basically, I thought it had to do with the difficulty of crawling controls on the PSP.
You'll still need an effective attack strategy. One well-placed strike and the enemy won't know what hit him. To strike an enemy, press the attack button while standing still. On my command, press the attack button repeatedly and take down your opponent. Go.
I'm ready, boss.
I like that they kept Snake's MGS3 very grounded MGS3 combo.
We're gonna practice using the stun rod. Hitting someone with the stun
It is a
rod
little
will
weird,
send them with a 1.5 million
sort of
volts. Anyone on the receiving end of that is
story-wise
guaranteed to be
that.
out cold.
I mean, he's obviously talking to the player, right? And weirdly enough, though, Peace Walker is one of the Metal Gear games where the narrative is really not very meta, at least as I remember it. So it just feels like a storytelling approach that belongs to another game.
I'm ready, boss.
That is incorrect, boss.
Wait, what? Oh, right. Oh god. Oh god, the controls are backward. Oh, it's awful.
Boss, please press the attack button while holding down the aim button.
It's-
Impressive, boss.
I don't understand why that is a default, but you press left and the camera pans right. I gotta change that.
Close quarters combat refers to when engaging an enemy in battle at very close range. It is a quick and efficient way of eliminating a threat. There are various CQC techniques. We will go over each of them. Don't get cocky because you think you know them. This will be different from what you're used to. Pretend you are learning it for the first time.
It is stressful.
The first
I'm being
technique,
instructed and given guidance as a beginner, and I'm being yelled at constantly. That's why I mean, like, it's very abrasive and fairly unpleasant. And I also know how to play the game, so I'm fine not listening to Drill Sergeant scream at all of us. It's also interesting that they brought in learnings from kind of what they learned for the digital graphic novel, and they brought that into PSP. So that's the cutscenes. Also, just a sort of like culmination of so much of what they learned from the PSP.
Thank you, Big Boss.
Call me Snake.
Sorry, Big Boss.
And that is easily one of the most confusing jokes to lead your game with.
Revolution.
I remember I had to look it up to refresh myself on it, and it's supposed to be like Victory Boss. And I think like the fact that B and V in katakana like share a character, that's kind of like where that pun comes in. So it's part visual, part oral. Yeah. I mean, honestly, when I heard that for the first time, I thought it was a play on Vic Viper. Because Snake is a snake and the Viper is a snake and Vic Viper is the name of the choo-choo-choo in Gradius. But yeah.
I feel like a new man. There's no coffee like
15 FPS PSP FMV. Yeah, when you see the frame rate on the cutscene, you can get a sense for why this makes sense.
Government to Colombia.
Professor Galvez comes from Costa Rica's University for Peace.
I am curious. I assume that like the art on this was like higher res before it was put into like what could process on a PSP, and they clearly upres the font. And I wonder if like they just like lost the originals and couldn't use like higher resolution versions of those for a TV display.
Is abolished.
The Peace Constitution.
Yeah, Document of Metal Gear Solid 2 was a really neat buy, and I really liked that sort of combination design doc / post-mortem, sort of like polished presentation of what it took to make that game. Evening, Swedish X. It's good to see you.
Costa Rica. Lies, obviously. They're bringing in state-of-the-art weaponry and equipment by the shipload. Where'd they get that kind of cash? I fear La CIA may be involved.
I love hearing Steve Bloom, because every time you hear him, you know it's Steve Bloom.
No. The United States views Central America as its backyard. Even after Cuba, we've managed to maintain a delicate balance with the U.S. And your government can't just give them the boot.
The Band of Dessiné movies? Oh, evening, Renpatsu. Was that... I think the digital graphic novel, the second one, was a DVD.
It says Japan
as well.
and can maintain an army.
This is one thing that's weird about the way this story starts off. I think this is actually one of the reasons why this game lost me more than some of the earlier ones. It's just, in order to set up the conflict, there's just this major info dump, and I'm just sort of like bracing myself, for, I don't know, something emotionally investing to happen at the outset, but instead it's just a lot of knowledge being told, obviously, to the player that the characters themselves should know.
But we can offer you this.
Yeah, exposition overload.
An offshore plant in the Caribbean.
Sounds pretty good to me. This place is becoming a mess anyway. Snake.
Bloom is interesting because a lot of times, like, I mean, one of the things that he does really well is being Steve Bloom, and he's got this really lovely, rich voice.
The chopper for transport.
But he is also capable of being a chameleon. There have been several roles he's played that
You seem to think we're
I
just
found out
back
after the fact was him, and I was like, what?
Is that right? Yes, that's what I've heard. You're an army without a state. No, we've only left our countries behind. Please, you must help us. If your suspicions are true, force isn't going to do any good. You'll have to find a political solution. The government's hands are tied. Go back to your bosses in San Jose. Tell them if they want, I'll introduce them to a negotiator I know.
The negotiator.
I'm
I
not
feel like that's an allusion to a character that I'm not placing.
So, would
It's
you
probably
care?
supposed to be a nudge
For
to
over
a knowledgeable
20
player.
years, I've preached the virtues of peace at multiple universities.
Nolan North, yeah. Nolan North is can be a chameleon. So can actually Robin Atkin Downs. He's another VO who, you know, a lot of what he does is sounding like Robin Atkin Downs, right? The Master Miller, Travis Touchdown thing. But when I found out that he was the kind of the punk weapons dealer in The Last of Us, the first one,
No kidding. That's my
like
name,
I
too.
had no idea that that was
It's
him.
Japanese for peace. Pleased to meet you, Paz. Call me Kaz.
I find the use of red amid all the grays and blues and greens in this very interesting on both her raincoat and the guy's rocket hand. That's right, Rocket Peace was from this game, wasn't it?
Paz stumbled upon that facility while searching for a lost friend.
Oh yeah. I don't know if I have any mods active right now. I will ban that
16
person
years old.
here.
They did terrible things to her, but somehow she
Oh yeah, we're not
managed to
doing this.
escape.
This is gross.
My God. She's Huerfana. Her mother died when she was small.
There we go.
And she lost her grandparents in the Civil War. She hates war with a passion like no other.
My name is Paz.
Really, I'm interested to know more of your thoughts on that dream bomb.
It is my one and only purpose. Please, get them out of my country. Make them leave Costa Rica.
Sorry, kid. We know who you are.
Yeah, I would
boss.
take Hader over
That is
Kiefer
why we've come
for
to
a
you.
few reasons. One of them being that he could maybe get more than like 35 lines in, because V wound up being very silent, I felt. Token, I agree. MGS1 Snake. I went back and I replayed the first part of that, showing that to my wife, who doesn't play video games. I was like, this is one that's important to me. And just listening to Hader's voice acting was just chef's kiss quality.
Miller here. Do you copy, Snake? I see you've landed. That makes one giant leap for us. I'm sending this from the offshore plant, our mother base. The signal is
I
unidirectional.
feel like we find out that the boss went into space and got brain damage up there, and I feel like maybe that one giant leap for us is supposed to be a nod to that in some way. It just seems you really can't say that phrase without summoning the moon landing.
To refresh your memory, use the left stick to move. Use the right stick to adjust your view.
Kiefer as Big Boss is fine. To be clear, I just feel like
Start button to open the menu.
at the end of the day, I didn't come away from it with a good feeling why the change was made.
Select a target and squeeze off around the
So this is where we're gonna fix this. And go back.
Press the directional
There we go.
buttons while holding the R2 button to switch
That's
weapons.
what you want.
Ready your weapon with
Hold
the
on a second, I'm
L1
gonna
button. Then press the R1 button to fire.
going to switch to
How about a little shooting practice?
DualShock
Try hitting a
4.
coconut.
There we go. Ah, it feels so much better. It's been a while since I played Ground Zeroes. Is there a lot of Kiefer Snake in that one?
Perfect. Oil drums, driftwood, buoys. There are plenty of targets around here. Select equipment by pressing the square or circle button while holding the L2 button to check your map. Press the
Kind of
start
unsure what
button
these
to
things
open
are.
the menu.
Oh, hey, fish.
The M16 is a standard assault rifle capable of rapid fire.
I believe that fish cannot be shot. Oh, right! This is the one that's got the cat from Monster Hunter in it. Oh, I remember that cutscene. It's dear to my heart.
Perfect. That's right. Nicely done, boss.
I'll have to go back and check that out, Mexican Sting.
Perfect.
I wonder how that will affect my impression of him as Silent Snake. Just gonna take a look at this.
Your binoculars enable you to gather recon from a distance.
Woof. Mid-range terrain, looking like distance terrain there.
That's it. Perfect.
Ah, yes. Just like real coconuts that gradually fade from existence the second they hit the ground.
We'll keep it here at the base.
Oh, weird.
That's right.
These drums are respawning. Well, let's
Grenades explode. You
do
throw
this.
them, Snake. Use the L1 button to ready throwing weapon. Once you've readied the weapon, throw with the R1 button. When using throwing weapon,
Mexican Sting, I agree.
button down longer to throw farther.
That's what I was hoping for as well.
You let go of the button. That's it. Snake, don't you think you could use a little more practice?
Nope. We are good, Miller. Thank you.
I gotta thank you for agreeing to this, Snake.
And even though MGS5 wasn't the big boss story I was hoping for,
Finally, we can leave all that
I would
crap
be
and
interested
Geronimo
in a
behind.
retread of Metal Gear 1 and 2 with V as the villain of Metal Gear 1. I think that would make me more interested in seeing that story fleshed out. What did I do? There we go.
Are they still here?
Come on.
I'm actually
Snake.
wondering
This
if
could be good
if
for
originally
us.
like all this was like
They're willing
one
to give us an
single like
offshore plant.
major,
Plus we can finally
really
put down
long
some
introductory
roots.
cutscene,
This
and
is
they
our
put that
chance
in
to
there because it was
expand
becoming
MSF.
tiresome.
We don't need a place
Um,
to stay, Kaz.
I don't know.
We're nomads. We always will be.
What? You'd rather
Yeah,
keep
Metal Gear
wandering
2 is a
from
lot of fun.
conflict to conflict? Tools in the hands
Metal
of
Gear
whoever's
2 is also
fighting
much
at the
more
time?
overtly
The
dark
second we say
than
that,
Metal
who's to
Gear
say we
1.
will become the warmongers?
Listen to me, Snake. We're not mercenaries. We're not a foreign legion. MSF's a business. A new kind of business.
With the it's like the first time the whole like
Look,
child
it's
soldier
not like we're trying to start a war here.
motif shows
All
up
we need to do is
with
find out
relation
who
to
the
Big
security
Boss,
company really
and
is.
Come on, Kaz.
Yeah, it
It's
starts
pretty obvious
to-
that they're backed by the CIA.
Wait a
starts to go
sec.
into heavier
What
waters
would
there.
mean-
Our friend, the professor, is likely KGB.
I see.
We'd be making an enemy of our homeland.
And there'd be no turning back.
Yeah, Dreambone. I think that when he gets back, Space Hamlet will agree with you. He and I have spoken about the respective merits of V and Big Boss, and I think V is his favorite snake, actually. Excuse me. I love this. See, this is okay. So like all the historical backdrop, that's fine, but this is the dumb bullshit I'm here for. This is what I'm here for.
I got my medal from the Secretary General. He gave me this prosthetic hand as well. But smoking was
This is
ruining
like
my
on
lungs,
par
so I
with
quit.
the
Haven't
box
had
and everything
much
like
use
that. I
for
love it.
since. It's quite an honor to meet the legendary Big Boss. That's just a code name the CIA made up. Then perhaps I should call you.
V as a heroic part of Big Boss, I can see that. I think V is the part of Big Boss that we were left with at the graveside of the boss at the end of MGS3.
What do they call you back at Center?
I hear you, Swedish X.
Allow me to get straight to the point. Land as slim as
And I think
wind,
that, I don't know.
hot as
I feel like
torture.
Big Boss manages to continue to be likable through MPO and also in this one.
Central America is the
Such
navel of
that,
American
you know, their whole
government's
rescue
bridging
angle
north and
of Ground
south.
Zeroes, the,
We want
you
this
know,
land.
going into Guantanamo Bay and
Build
righting the
socialist
U.S.'s wrongs
stronghold
makes
and
sense
then
for him
use
as a
it to split
character.
Americas in two.
And I'm still on the fence as to how, out of nowhere, I felt like Big Boss's jerk turn. I'm still unsure how that lands with me as a
From which all of Latin America will be
consistency in his
well
character.
within. He who controls Central America will win this Cold War. First comes Nicaragua.
Oh yeah, that's right. He was hiding a lot of the weapons and stuff from the inspectors. I totally forgot about that. Mexican.
We
Sting.
have begun instigating anti-Samosa
And yeah, Dreambone.
and providing aid to the Sandinista National
I can see that.
You're manipulating Sandinista into overthrowing Somoza for you.
I just wonder like how that might have been done differently. Not to say that it needs to, right? Just thinking about how different permutations of that might have come about.
The CIA is already here.
And that's the armed group inside Costa Rica.
Precisely.
Well, and also, I
It's
mean,
clear that they've been
I think
sent in to disrupt our
MGS4's
efforts across the
bringing him
border.
back at the graveside kind of shoots that project in the foot of trying to make Big Boss like a villain. He does one thing that you feel kind of scummy about, like clearly knowing that Solidus is alive and as a flayed carcass, flayed corpse under plastic, and using that as the body linked to the
Big Boss,
SOP.
we want you and your
But,
unit to find the answer.
like at the end, he just kind of comes back. He's like, "Yeah, we're like brothers," and it's like, "Oh yes, he's on par with Solid Snake, and I love them both." And so you can't really feel that villainy from him, I think.
Then drive them out of the country.
I am sorry to hear that, Space Hamlet. My stream seems to be a bane for your Big Mac dreams. However, something interesting has developed in the chat since your absence is that folks are talking about how they like V more than Big Boss, and I was thinking, well, I know the guy to share that opinion with.
You mean her words about peace? She was captured, that much is true.
Yeah, Dreambomb. That's interesting
And you thought we'd
because
fall for a sob story.
I feel like Big Boss consistently became more sympathetic. Maybe, in fact, maybe because the player wound up sharing his actions and his trials and travails, so you wind up sympathizing with him because there's that part of you that is performing him. Whereas Walter White is very much like that sort of externalized, observed character. And yeah, absolutely. I feel like Walter White has many more harder signaling "I am a horrible person" moments than Big Boss does up until, you know, you find out that that he's the villain.
Took this during her escape. She says her friend happened to record it by accident.
What is that?
Oh, this is great. I've got something I can show you for comparison. Hold on.
The first of its kind.
I heard they were working on something like that in Japan. Didn't know you guys were too.
I believe what you're about to hear will help you understand.
This is actually a first run Walkman, and it's super neat. Found out received it as a gift, and found out later that it apparently has disproportionate value because of Guardians of the Galaxy, I think it is. Chris Pratt's character uses one. Anyway, it's got 2 audio outs, so you can share your music with somebody else, and that's neat.
Now it gets interesting.
It also feels a little discordant that Snake is like, "Oh, you're developing them in the Soviet Union too," and it's clearly it's clearly a Sony product. That's branded, buddy.
Indeed, that of the legendary hero and criminal, the boss. What? The other hasn't been identified. Female in her 30s with a British accent. The song playing in the background was a hit in 1973.
What's it going to be? Loyalty to your country or loyalty to me? Your country or your mentor? Your mission or your beliefs?
I am loyal to
Boss is alive in Costa Rica.
The speech at the end of this game is kind of perturbing. I actually don't remember the speech at the end of this game. Oh wait, isn't that the one where he's like, something, I reject the boss's legacy, and then...
To become the hero known as Big Boss.
I kind of remember that. Oh, sorry for... That doesn't... He develops a complex relationship with his past, so that's not really spoiling much for anybody who wants to be along for the ride.
Well, what'll it be? Will you take the job?
Snake, it's gotta be a trap.
So you still can't turn your back on
I think that he also ran into a problem with the way that MGS4 really handled Snake is because, I don't know. I think Snake is supposed to be the likable one at the end of the day because he's not the villain. He's the version of Big Boss that chose the right path of Ronin wandering and doing good rather than creating a new clan or a new dynasty, right? But MGS4 just kind of really screwed Snake over in so many ways, and even to the point where like the narrator, insofar as there seems to be one, is just like beating him over the head with the fact that he's smoking, and it's like, Jesus, buddy, he's dying from completely unrelated causes. Leave him alone. Yeah, so it's like Snake doesn't really get a satisfying send-off, so people are naturally going to cling to the Snake that they're allowed to feel good about. Yeah.
You've got to get past them undetected. Avoid combat whenever possible.
Oh, interesting. After credit scene where he's addressing his men. I will look forward to that. I wonder how many streams it will take for us to get there. Shantae, I recommend it. I would...
Take the long way around. Whatever it takes to stay out of
I don't know, man. Metal Gear Solid 1 is the classic. I don't know. Actually, Metal Gear Solids 1 and 3 are both classics, so you can't go wrong with either one of those. So, alright. Our boy isn't going to turn around here.
From that position, you can press the L1 button to detect enemies. That also works while lying down.
Start talking.
Oh, that's right. They squirreled their way out of recording VO for all of these soldier lines.
Start talking. Start talking.
Oh, goofy. Give me stuff? Yes. I would like your stuff, please.
Free.
See if I remember this right. You get 2 presents out of an unconscious one, you get 3 out of somebody put to sleep, and you get 4 out of somebody held up. Space Hamlet, sorry, chat is moving quite fast. Space Hamlet, when you say that the tiny rooms combined with the alert reset, which game are you thinking of from that angle? Oh yeah, this audio version of
The percentage in the upper right is your camo index. The lower the number, the more easily you
of the Soliton radar was
will compromise your camo
was an MPO borrowing too. Oh right. Yeah.
When you clear the jungle, you'll be there. Head east.
I'm actually curious to see. Let's just go and get found.
Enemies close by.
See what that looks like.
They spotted you. Get out of there.
No!
Sighted. Requesting backup.
Negative. We can't spare reinforcements. You'll have to make do with what you have.
Oh wait, I went backwards. Whoops. Well, they're probably not going to chase me into the tutorial area. Oh. Oh, right. Okay, I see what happened. Yeah, actually, that is something about this one's design that is interesting to me. There you go. You kind of chill out. Is how it really seems to have made these levels bite-sized for mobile playing. So, you know, if you're hanging out in line at the DMV or whatever, you can play through one level, turn it off, and then not have to really reorient yourself mentally so much to know what's going on. Yeah, Mexican Sting, I agree. I pulled out the PSP Peace Walker to compare it, and I greatly prefer this version. I remember, not the least of which reason, there is a button mashing sequence, and I really hate button mashing sequences on my portable controllers, because on my portable systems, because when I'm asked to press something fast, I put a lot of pressure on it, and that is absolutely not something I'm comfortable doing with the actual console itself. Let's see.
Free.
Let's see, can I hit you? Yeah. Gotcha. Do I have Fultons? I do not have Fultons. Yeah, this area takes its cue, I think, from the first Metal Gear pretty heavily, right down to the the shipping crates, making this very gridded level that 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 you can sneak through. One thing I do miss about the older Metal Gears is the difficulty settings. You know, it's very video gamey rather than the modern all difficulties contained within one press start button experience. But I miss the European extreme versions of levels you can accomplish, you know, get through otherwise. Yeah, the boxes in this one are cool. That you can actually use them as stepping stones, and bring a second cooperator inside. That's neat.
Yes, sir, we broke them. We acquired the whereabouts of target 500.
Acknowledged. Spears are loaded. The barge is cleared Point Bravo.
I really dig the voice synth on these robots. Although this is one of the things that right QTEs.
The cargo.
Where's
it headed? What is
let me finish this so I can have a thought.
In the mountains. What's up there?
Stun rod rather than knife is an interesting choice in this. Yeah, Mexican Sting. That actually gets at what I was going to say, which is, granted, it's like, okay, so Metal Gear Solid 3 worked because the Shagohod was like this prototypical Metal Gear vehicle, and it's using this runway as like a first booster stage of a rocket for launching a nuke. Anywhere you can build build an airstrip, and that's fine. That makes sense because Metal Gear is a stomp, stomp, stomp thing. So the first iteration of that makes sense. But here you've got in MPO and in Peace Walker and Metal Gear Solid 5 where you just got this giant walking mech. The world is apparently capable of building weapons far more terrifying and challenging to destroy than the original Metal Gear. They kind of wind up upping their own ante so much, trying to make the sequels in our time more interesting, but also make the past make less sense in that process, I think.
The radio man was wearing one, and whoever he was talking to called the cargo spears.
Wait, that would mean...
Nukes. They're bringing nukes into Costa Rica.
Which was the bullet sponge token? I remember, oh yes. There's our name Flash. And our title sequence. Oh wow, it's taken us this long to get here. That's neat. Oh right, the whale. I forgot about that. Which is ridiculous, because I think it's like either the final or the penultimate boss. Yeah, this is cool. I found this to be very anime and silly, and I loved it.
How's that map, Snake? Think you can use it?
It tells me where their bases are, but it's just a bunch of points. No routes. I need better intel on the lay of the land.
Snake, the professor said he's got the Sandinistas on his side.
How long has it been since Death Stranding came out? It's been about a year, isn't it?
Do they know they're backed by the KGB?
Nah. As far as they know, they're really fighting for the revolution. The KGB is staying behind the scenes. I'm not sure the Sandinistas are aware of what's really going on.
Yeah, there's a button mashing sequence at the end of one of the boss fights that is very strange. I have the ability to like just aggravate my own wrist muscle in such a way where I can hit a button very quickly, and that's the only way I was able to get through European Extreme on Metal Gear Solid 2. And so I was doing that on that that final sequence, and apparently it went faster than the thing could follow. It's looking for like very slow presses, and it drove me nuts, dying like 6 times before I sarcastically hit the button slowly and managed to get past it.
Well, if they did bring nukes, we can't let them get away with it.
Are they planning a test, showing off? Or is it all to keep the anti-American movement in check?
Good question. Why bring them here? I can't figure it out.
Space Hamlet, this was the last hater snake. This was the last one. 4 came prior to this. I think this was actually going to be named Metal Gear Solid 5 before they came up with the alternate title.
But as long as you're with us, we'll make it happen. No one can bother us here. No state telling us what to do. This is the MSF's haven, our mother base.
Oh, that's interesting, Swedish X.
We'll back you up even better than before.
Yeah, managing your technological development to keep your villains threatening, but also not, you know, undercut whatever you're trying to do with them later is a balancing act. Yeah, well, I mean, this is where the sort of like Solid Snake, Big Boss personalities are still very much aligned, because Big Boss still has that Ronin twitch of, you know, I don't belong to a nation or anything, but I'm going to step in and stop nuclear war. But he's also got Miller's literally mercenary attitude. We're just going to wing this. I think I remember this anyway. Cool. Yeah, for now. That makes sense. Actually don't have a mess hall yet. Oh yeah, he sends his troops to die in the outer ops. That's something he's cool with. Because that's the point where he sort of crosses over from having a direct comrade relationship with his soldiers, and being okay with them going out and dying as part of their shared project. I really like how they took the Walkman's original like design and simplified it down like that. That's lovely. I agree, Swedish X. I feel like UI sound effects are really a game's signature. Even as, I mean, I actually feel like the Silent Hill 1 UI sound effects feel very placeholder, but I don't feel like it's a Silent Hill game without it. Alright. I'm okay not doing that. Yeah, let's do this.
Snake, I rigged that radio so you can contact our young lady friend Paz.
Is she okay?
No need to worry. She's tougher than you think.
Aerobot's Playroom? Astrobot, Aerobot. Astrobot's Playroom, is that a new Astrobot for the PS5?
Besides, that little Angel de la Paz is the one who gave us this mission, right?
I guess.
I'll put her on.
Snake,
Paz, where are you?
Ciudad Colon.
Yeah, the rift between Miller and Boss at the end of MGS5 sets up MG2 and makes that allegiance make sense.
Yeah, that's probably good advice.
See, he has a radio in his room, so we can talk anytime.
Yeah, Token, I agree. I played Astrobot on the PSVR on PS4, and it felt very Mario. It felt very much like a Nintendo game.
Contact you if I find your friend.
Thank you.
Had that fun and charm.
If you need to know about Costa Rica, the geography, the climate, the wildlife, anything.
Space Hamlet, what reverses his stance in 5 is not so much a principled stand against Metal Gear. It's more of, like, you jerk, you were my best friend, and I lost, like, 2 limbs, and this is how you repay me by putting a body double in place, when we were supposed to hang out on Saturday, kind of thing. It's very much a heart response rather than a head response.
You won't find it without making sacrifices. No offense, but I don't know what peace is. Never felt what it's like. Huh. Never even
That's interesting, Swedish X. I don't know if I would...
Sorry.
That does seem counterintuitive.
I think your ideas are admirable.
He doesn't find that out till the very end. Oh, I'm sorry, Space Hamlet. I thought that's,
Me too.
I'm sorry, Mexican Sting. I thought that's where Mexican Sting was referring to.
Bring it back.
The end of 5.
I will be here whenever you need me. See you later.
Snake, use your radio to call people, but stay alert. You're in the middle of a mission and can't afford to let your guard down.
Got it.
Need to know more about Costa Rica? Haas can help you out.
Destiny, like the,
We'll follow their transport
Bungie
route.
Destiny?
This should take us straight to their main base.
From what I've seen, it looks like nukes.
Agreed. The key thing now is to confirm whether those spears really are what we think they are. And if so, why
Missing chapters relevancy, do you mean like the,
Find the nukes.
like chapter 3 or the thing where
contact with the Sandinista
you
Commandante.
chase Eli, who has stolen the Metal Gear, that sort of thing?
Already come under attack.
We better hope they're still alive.
Snake, infiltrate that cabin and secure the Sandinista's Commandante. Neutralize any...
Oh, I see what you're saying, Token. Yeah, I gotcha.
Or even using the Fulton recovery system. You choose how to...
Yeah, Hamlet, I mean, Miller's motivation seems very much to be, I mean, he's a businessman, and, he's a warmonger and a businessman, and, at the same time seems to have some friendship loyalties that he expects to be respected, apart from the, well, I want to say pun unintended, but it's literal, mercenary tendencies. Missing content in V, that's an interesting question. Hold on 1 second, let me prep my mission here and I can think about that. Oh wow, I really don't have much, do I? Of course I'm gonna bring my mate. And my Walkman. Well, on that latter point, it's just kind of my general critical approach is to take intentionality out of it. I feel like hitching your star to an artist's intentions really undercuts your ability to come up with a cogent and meaningful understanding of media. Which is not to say the author is dead or anything like that. I think that's I don't think that is a hard stance to ally with either. But in general, whether or not Kojima intended it to be cut or not, it's cut. So that's it. I'm interested in the thing that got made, not the thing that somebody wanted to make. Yeah, I think that the end effect is that there is a degree of resolution, almost a sense of being abandoned by the story that very much works to the...
The enemy's here!
Oh, sorry, guy. Well, I mean, he should have held up his hands. What am I supposed to do? Yeah, so I think that the sense of lingering dissatisfaction absolutely plays into what Metal Gear Solid 5 is doing. At the same time, I am kind of done with lingering dissatisfaction as something that I'm interested in. So I would have much rather had that missing content fleshed out. That said, what is accomplished without it is still impactful, I think. Yeah, I agree, Swedish X. Prequels are creatively challenging, and I don't know how I would feel about making one. Oh yeah, this sending things to Mother Base, that is absolutely an improvement over MPO, where your character has 4 inventory slots, and if you fill them up, that's it. Everything you grab, no matter how appealing, stays behind on the ground like so much sidewalk candy. Don't eat sidewalk candy. I actually haven't played Red RDR2 Token. That is a part of the zeitgeist that I'm actually behind on.
The boathouse should be close by. Neutralize the security detail and make contact with the Commandante.
It occurs to me now that maybe one of the reasons why the missions are bite-sized probably also has to do with how big the environments could reasonably be on how much they could really load.
What was that?
Huh? I think I see someone.
Whoa. Crap. There we go.
You could probably climb that if you had someone to lend you a hand.
What?
Go, go, go.
Oh, right. These are your,
Good luck.
your, team communication things.
Snake it.
Okay. Let's, drop this. Whoop.
Someone attacking? Enemies close by.
Oh man.
The enemy's attacking. Going to alert status.
Understood. Maintain heightened alert.
Let's see. I got 15 Mark 22 shots, that's fine. Let's Fulton you through. Got somebody coming up? What's the story here? Wait. Oh.
They spotted you. Get out of there.
They do offer the generous aim correction to give you a bead on their head if you happen to be just a little bit in the area. Congratulations on your burrito, Space Hamlet. Swedish X, where do you fall on? Which side of the line do you fall up on that, preferring limited or infinite inventory? I have to admit, I like me some infinite pocket space. Space Hamlet, I am noticing that the damage that Snake takes per bullet is quite a bit higher than I'm used to him taking early in the game, and I wonder if it's because of exactly that, because you can conceivably just sprint past everything. And yeah, Mexican Sting. I can see the game working. I can see the game working well with or without it. A re-release of it with that content included would not invalidate or take away from what I've gotten from the game as it exists, and at the same time I don't feel like I'm necessarily lesser. I don't feel like I have a lesser experience for lacking it. I think Metal Gear Solid 4 had AR suppressors that were limited because you had to buy them and repeatedly. Yeah, the war economy things. I actually wrote a piece for... Thank you. For OneUp.com. Back when that was a thing. Called The Sons of Big Bucks. And it was about the war economy angle of Metal Gear Solid 4. That's my box, you jerk. I think I still have the files from that somewhere. And it might be available through the Wayback Machine, but sadly, do you continue to take trank damage?
The enemy's attacking. Going to alert status.
Understood. Maintain heightened alert. If there's anything you want to know, just give me a
there we
call
go.
on the radio. Press the start button to open the menu window, then choose the radio call option.
What was that?
Nobody here but us mice.
I'm seeing things.
Fulton recovery subject confirmed onboard helicopter.
Yeah, one of the things they did in MGS5 that made the Fulton stuff make a lot more sense is give realistic reactions to them. This is kind of goofy. Can I go in here? I cannot. Oh, there's something in here that I want to get.
Enemies close by.
You've been spotted. Run for it. It's either that or take out every last enemy soldier. You've lost them, but they're still on the hunt. Stay sharp.
Anything up here?
Fulton recovered a
Oh, I guess I cleared the level. Evening Nikita Launcher. That is a fine username. I remember looking for the MGS3 version of the Nikita / guided rocket weapon, and being very sad that that had not been developed yet in the history of the game. Oh, nifty! It's live. Thank you for finding that link, Mexican Sting.
Guinness.
Oh no, it's got a picture of me from then. Oh no.
Send it.
I can only wonder what that is.
I'm looking for someone.
I agree, Nikita. I prefer the controls to the PSP's version. The only thing that I do wish I could change is I really want, you know, I really want these to be my inventory buttons, and I want these to be my my aiming. So I wind up pulling at my inventory when I intend to pull up my gun. Not ideal, but you can relearn your manual stuff.
Colombiano.
Steve Zahn? I don't know who Steve Zahn is.
Take pictures of birds.
Birds?
Yeah, quetzals.
You've got no telephoto lens. How do you get your shots?
Telephotos for amateurs. It's all in the timing.
Oh.
Let me smoke
Okay,
too.
we can talk until I finish this.
Chico.
Tell me what's going on here.
I feel like Chico, unlike Sonny, Chico feels like a real kid. Sonny never really, I never really was sold on her as like acting or thinking like a child. Chico like is very like, give me things I shouldn't have and I'm gonna go off and pout, and that actually is more believable. He's also more rash rather than sort of finger wagging at Snake about smoking.
You don't think they're here to push you back into Nicaragua?
Impossible. Too much hardware. Too many bases. Didn't you see? They've got helicopters, tanks. It's like
We've got mail. Was that another Meg Ryan, Tom Hanks
There's a factory to the north.
movie in the Sleepless in Seattle vein, except with AOL as the go-between?
You've seen the big transport boat.
Okay, yeah.
Rio Deltahead.
I do in fact remember that.
It's upstream from here. Up toward Yarasu.
Any idea what's on it?
I could introduce you to some of our compas up there, but I don't recommend going to the mountains. We've lost a lot of people there. They take us.
Yeah, I agree, Swedish X. It's difficult to do convincingly and meaningfully.
This was our last hideout. The final refuge for
I mean, honestly, VHS and Blu-ray's the way to go. Keep it on VHS for the original feel, and then just update your Blu-ray to whatever the current high-fidelity format is.
Monster.
And that way you've got both extremes covered. One of my favorite VHS possessions is the Mind's Eye CG opera series of videos. There's The Mind's Eye, Beyond the Mind's Eye, and then The Mind's Gate, I think. Anyway, they're fantastic, and watching them on VHS is the choice way to go.
You need a special talent to become cacique. It takes someone great to unite all of Las.
It's also got a lot of
Sorry to interrupt, but leaders don't choose
what's his name?
themselves.
John Von Hammer. Van Hammer? John Hammer. He's the guy who did like the Miami Vice synth soundtrack, and I love his stuff. I love it. And one of the reasons why I like the combat soundtrack of Death Stranding is because it had very Jan Van Hammer, whichever is correct. It had that feeling to it. Oh yeah, man! I remember my dad brought home the Beyond the Mind's Eye VHS. Like somebody lent it to him at work, and I watched that thing over and over and over again. The dinosaurs. I remember the liquid metal dinosaurs specifically. Yes, and here's the thing that makes makes the Metal Gear and Metal Gear 1 kind of like, why is that a threat? Gigantic AI-fueled bird of prey? Oh, Space Hamlet, given that I have no idea what photograph is on that Sons of Big Bucks article, I can't say I'm too disappointed. He says, recording his visage as he speaks. This is neat. I like this this interactive moment. I also like how they put, like, they make you. This is actually really smart now that I think about it, because the first 2 times, you know, they rule of 3 it. The first 2 times they give you a live moving target that you have to actually adjust the controller to. Then the 3rd time they give you something that fills up your whole screen so you can't possibly miss as a player, and that tells you how agile the thing is. So that's actually pretty smart.
Better for him to die at the hand of a compa and suffer their torture.
Mexican Sting, I have always looked roughly 30. That was from the time I was 20 till today. With the telltale difference now, keep it a secret, a little bit of thinning up here. Oh, Token, thank you for coming by, man. It's always good to see you, and I hope to see you out next Saturday when we'll be doing part 2 of this. I can stop the thinning. Well, it has slowed down. It has slowed down a little bit. I mean, it started, I want to say about 8 years ago, reached a point and then like stopped. So it hasn't grown since then. And I'm like, knock on wood, right? So, well, thank you, Mexican Sting. I'm pleased to know that it is mine to reveal. So give me 1 second. I'm going to refill my water, and I'm going to bring a panda in so we can all have that good moment in our week. So I'll be right back. Oh, what? Okay, there we go. Well, unfortunately, for the time being, Panda has been claimed, so we'll I'm sure we'll have Panda opportunity. There will be opportunity. I had to put on my negotiator hat, but I've got some Panda coming next break. Evening, Viper. It's good to see you. Yeah, well, you know how it is. When you have a cat sleeping on your feet, you are loath to give that up, unless you absolutely need to. So, just a little bit of Panda sharing. Yes, Viper, I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. And a beard wig. I'm glad to see that the conversation has progressed to what... I mean, honestly, okay, so the thing about Metal Gear Solid 2 is one of the unlockable rewards is a series of wigs for Raiden, and I feel that the increase of beard presence on Big Boss should have resulted in the same as the series went on. And I'm deeply disappointed that this did not happen. And there we go. Yes, I'm caught up. Yes, I'm glad to see that there's much Panda angst and beard frolicking is what I'm going to call it. For your beard and off-brand beard alternatives.
Whatever it was, it looked unmanned.
All right, the shaver in MGS2. That was
What is going on
man.
here?
Not to quote Amanda, but the hardware they've got here isn't just
That's like the touch that made those two games magical.
So the question now becomes why?
We can't make that call yet. We need more intel.
Man, compared to how Miller sort of like his facial model changed in MGS5, he's practically baby-faced here.
Follow her. Head for the next outpost and make
Much rounder, fuller, and less emaciated by revenge. The desire to crush those who wronged him. Swedish X, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. If I really think that we got to see the limits of Snake's imagination with the Octocam. Oh yeah, the LAW. That's your basic garden variety missile launcher. Okay. Yeah, Viper. Viper in chat was one of my buds who played a lot of this co-op with me back when this was back in this game's most active server moments. There's like a specific word I'm looking for, but I'm not hitting it, so I'm just gonna throw out a bunch of them. Yeah, those are good times. Oh yeah, Mexican Sting, I remember that. Yeah, they took off the mustache, drew his upper lip back in, and gave him the grizzled look.
The direction Amanda's Sandinistas were going corresponds to the location of the next
Evening, Hobgoblin. And yes, I think that you have successfully clipped from my streams the title of my autobiography, Panda Angst and Beard Frolicking. A shaving minigame for MGS4? It's fantastic. Yeah, the mustache just made me think of Mr. Devons, who was my sophomore year high school math teacher. It just has like It just has like that feeling to it. And yeah, I too, Swedish X, enjoy going outside and harvesting a gun. After all, this is America. Oh, I meant to try and change my camo. Oh well. There were Ken dolls you could shave? Was it just like one of those things where the stubble would appear on the plastic and you would use a razor that would apply some sort of chemical that would make it like disappear? Or like what's the... I don't remember those, Shantae. Thunderbolt Ross, isn't that the orange Hulk? Ooh, stun grade. Stun grade designs. That's how we're gonna say it. It is kind of funny that I am clearly continuing the mission from before, and now my silencer is just refreshed.
What was that noise?
Why don't you come check it out?
They're gonna come take a look.
Oh right, Betsy Ross's father. I seem to remember that he became the Orange Hulk at some point?
Enemies close by.
Oh wow, that Mark 22 really isn't a threat. I thought the first time I had just stepped out of range, but apparently they see the Mark 22 and they know, oh, that's nothing to take seriously. Well, Swedish X, if you ever have a hankering for any of the older, if you have a hankering for the biggest expression of dumb Metal Gear bullshit, the fan servers of Metal Gear Online 2 are up, and that game is fantastic. I have a lot of love for it because you can do a lot of really stupid things in it. Cold water for his hair to grow, hot water to shave it. Yeah, that sounds about right for
Footsteps.
what
They know someone's there. They'll be coming to check it out.
what you would trust a kid with. It's yeah, actually, as a matter of fact, Viper and I recorded a retrospective on playing as Raiden in Metal Gear Online for all the abilities that he had, many of which were very goofy. That's something I would like to go back and rewatch. Mexican Sting Revengeance is a solid game. It's a good platinum entry. It's mechanically, I don't think it's platinum's best, but it's pretty good. And you know, it's Metal Gear.
What's that? The enemy's attacking. Going to alert status.
Understood. Dispatching reinforcements. Proceed with extra caution.
Oh yeah, Viper. I remember. Yeah, Johnny. Like if you kill 3 enemies in a row, he gets distressed and craps himself. Oh,
Get up.
Oh no!
You've been spotted. Run for it. It's either that or take out...
Where are you? Where are you? Oh, where are you? Oh man. Okay, need to do better. Yeah, that's the trade-off to being able to reset the alert status when you go to the next area. I think it's... Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily non-canon. I just think it's like it's what happens in the Metal Gear universe after the snakes are done. But yeah, it's not a Kojima game. I think that I remember hearing that Kojima Productions still like oversaw the game on the creative end, so it's got the seal of approval.
If you think you're about to die, use a ration or a recovery item. Can't be too careful.
Yeah, Swedish X, I agree. I think that
What was that?
one of the is it Ryuhei Kitamura who did Twin Snakes with the
They'll be coming to check it out.
ever extravagant heal plant off of a Stinger missile that Solid Snake does. That kind of over-the-topness makes more sense in Revengeance than it does in kind of the lead-up games. Really, it was left off Metal Gear Timelines. Huh. I remember Kojima saying something like that it was sort of sibling to Metal Gear Solid 5 because both of them were about revenge.
Enemies close by.
Oh, come on now.
You've been spotted. Run for it. It's either that or take out every use the right stick to aim at your target.
Enemy sighted. Requesting backup.
Understood. Dispatching reinforcements now.
Somebody coming in on my left. I never used this weapon when I played this before.
Good. You shook them. They're still looking though. Don't make it easy for them.
Yeah, I shook him, Miller. Alright. See if I can save one. Nope, can't. There we go. Catching up here. Yeah, Space Hamlet. I think that's implied in. That's. I don't think it's given a direct. What's the word I'm looking for? Lineage isn't the right word I'm looking for. I don't think it's credited as being directly responsible for the MGS4 PMCs, but it's definitely a line that I think it's expecting people to draw between 2 points. And yeah, Heavy Viper. I remember that. The original version had the sort of ape enemies were in the original version developed by Kojima Productions, but just like that style of game wasn't something that they had really made before, so they were kind of at a loss for how to make that work. And yeah, I'm not really sure why the holdup didn't work there. That's really kind of what screwed me up. Hobgoblin, yeah, I'm gonna not do all the side ops, but many of them, I think. The main goal is to get through the story portions of the game, so that's what I'm gonna focus on. Maybe do a couple of the tank maybe do a couple of the vehicle side ops as well. I'm very glad to hear that your cat is representing on the stream Swedish X. It's very important, and in the event of the rare event of panda scarcity, I'm very glad to know that somebody else can pick up the slack. Do I have? Yeah.
I heard something.
Yes, you did.
They heard you. They're gonna come take a look.
Start talking. Can't be imagining things. What's going on?
Like crediting Bruce Lee for MMA's popularity. That's an interesting comparison.
Fulton recovery helicopter is complete.
Oh yeah, that's right, Mexican Sting. I remember that was the... I might even have that on this machine. It was the database of Metal Gear Solid. It was an MGS4 accompanying download. And that was actually how a lot of, I think, CQC got leaked, was through that documentation. And in one of my favorite localizations of anything Metal Gear, as explaining, coming up with a retcon for why Solid Snake isn't using CQC in any of the previous games, is that he put a quote-unquote personal ban on CQC, which apparently explains why he didn't do it and neither did anybody else. He was like, nope, and everybody was like, all right. he's the big man, so no one's gonna say no to that.
Rope bridge. Hurry.
Oh. There we go. Gaudy, that's it. Oh yeah, I think that's Swedish X. I kind of remember this too. Where's my map? If there's anything over here that I'm missing. That one of the reasons why Snake's CQC was so powerful is because his technique was perfect and pure, as opposed to these corrupted CQCs, which is apparently the only martial art in the universe, outside of self-taught swordplay.
You might be able to get past the enemy by hanging from the bridge. Press the action button near the bridge's handrail to hang.
They call the punch kick the big boss. Boss. Big boss. Well, there we go. I want to do this hanging thing. Yeah, so on this playthrough, I'm actually really interested in experimenting with different solutions to problems than I have typically taken. And it seems I do not have a grip gauge that is determined by either stamina or an independent gauge. That's neat. The most powerful CQC is, in fact, hitting somebody in any non-vital spot with a trank and then rolling into them to do that final bit of pushover damage to their stamina. mean, honestly, Big Boss is pull-ups. What you're seeing there, that is not a man who's wearing anything other than those fatigues. He does not have layers. Big Boss is layers. Like an ogre. Or an onion.
If there's anything you want to know, just give me a call on the radio.
Oh, hey, that's...
Press the start button to open the menu window. Then choose the radio call option.
I like being able to see one of the other areas across the way. And I also like being able to harass... Who's it? There we go. Oh, what? Ah, crap.
Get out of there.
That smashed fly against the windshield animation is one of my favorites from this game. Yeah, Swedish X, one of my favorite ways of doing that. It's easily the fastest and most video game logic way of increasing your, you know, pull-up strength is by dropping off of one platform and then quick catching another, which should probably just pull your, you know, shoulders out of socket, but in Metal Gear that actually gives you, makes you strong.
Fulton recovery to help.
And actually, I think in the tanker chapter, if I'm remembering right, the only real need you had for it was if you got your strength...
They might be holding FSLN soldiers prisoner.
Oh, neat. A camp. If you... what am I thinking? Yeah, if you got Snake's grip strength up to level 3 in the tanker chapter, there's a high wire that you can shimmy across as a way of avoiding all of the soldiers that are congregated in the loading bays. Yeah, Mexican Sting. The tanker chapter really felt like just perfect vertical slice of all the nonsense they wanted to accomplish with that game. It was lovely. Oh, crap. I actually wanted to. That's interesting. Another thing that they don't let you do is drag soldiers once you've got them.
Start talking.
Oh yeah, the underwear guys.
Start talking. Start talking.
Actually, this might be a fun thing to do before we call it a night. One of the things on the demo that I think is very interesting is on the Olga fight, you can actually get to a point, you can actually kind of hide during the Olga fight such that the boss music enters kind of like a caution phase version of itself that I don't think is available in the final game. And yeah, Iceman Dan, they... I'm not sure this is maybe the... I get why they would not want to record unique lines for each soldier undergoing interrogation, but I'm not sure the bleep bloop sound effect is the best way to have done that.
What's that noise? Those were footsteps! The enemy.
Hope you survive.
You're gonna have to pass through the sorting area to get to the other side.
I mean, geez, guys, be afraid of the frickin' carbine. A Nintendo audience. Interesting. Yes, because the DS really was the market leader on the PSP, or on the PSP, on handhelds.
Guess not.
To send a prisoner to Mother Base, equip the Fulton recovery system. Select equipment by pressing the square or circle button while holding the L2 button.
Oh yeah, kid friendly. That makes sense.
Fulton recovery subject confirmed onboard helicopter.
Yeah, I can think of no better place to recover from 4 close-range gunshot wounds than suspended, I don't know, 500 feet in the air to be caught by a flying plane on a extended hook. Definitely the healthiest way to go. Space Hamlet, that is one of the ways that I learned to deal with screw-ups in MGS4. I'm sorry, MGS4, MGS2 as well. Actually, this also worked in 3.
Press the action button in front of a prisoner.
Because if you incapacitate them by shooting both arms, they the best they can do is run away and try to radio. Although don't shoot them in both legs because the game doesn't have a way for them to deal with that, so they just fall down and die. And that counts as a kill.
Start talking.
Only rated T. Interesting.
Start talking.
Wonder if the stun rod has something to do with that.
Start talking.
I feel like I already found the prisoner, and you got what you deserved, Buster. Also would like Snake also doesn't go into a melee attack from crouch, which is, yeah, unless it's unarmed CQC. Yeah. Well, I saved his life.
Go, go, go.
Wonder if I can blow this up with a grenade. Just gonna see. In fact, I can. But that's probably a speed run way through it. Alright, Tiger Stripe, my bread and butter from MGS3. Yeah, Mexican Sting, something to keep in mind, we don't exactly have a medics bay yet, so these guys are all just going to a place that is populated entirely by technicians and combatants. Good luck! Help, help, this man's been shot. I can build a gun. Is that gonna help you?
Looks like there's no way
A gun to like pull the bullet back into? I do dig that these vehicles have that name flash up there. It makes me think of like like a bullet hell shooter when a boss is announced and it shows up on the screen and it gives you like a big text signifier of it. Yeah, solid C rank. Yeah, you shoot the bullet through. So, you know, the real problem with getting shot is when the job wasn't fully done. So you send another bullet in afterward, like a pool ball, knock it out, you're just fine.
Listen, boss, we both know you're the reason MSF's grown so much, but it's time we started putting more thought into provisions.
Good point. A place this big needs a good stockpile on hand.
The Japanese say you can't fight on an empty stomach, something we learned in World War II.
Obviously. Maintaining a steady supply of provisions is one of the basic principles of logistics.
So I went
Yeah,
ahead
World War II, that's where that
team members' numbers
truism
and
came
abilities
from.
will affect the amount of grub to go around. Without enough food, morale will drop. They get hungry enough, and we could start losing people. Anyway, I need you to assign guys to the mess hall team.
Copy that.
You're right, Dream Bomb. I mean, that's the thing about Solid Snake is, you know, you got the recessive genes, which apparently in Metal Gear means worse, and, you know, as a result, he didn't get the title card gene. It's all sort of tragedy for him. And yeah, Space Hamlet, that suggests a particularly militant tooth fairy, where you can tie a string to your tooth, tie a string to a bullet, and fire, and it would take the tooth out, and that interests me. As a dentist, which I am not. Good night, Ark. Thank you for coming by, and I hope to see you out in on Tuesday when we're going to be doing more of the game that I know you have plundered to its depths. Evil Within 2. We're gonna, because of just hours and being able to get my brain straightened in time for an evening stream, I'm going to be starting at 7:30 rather than 7. So I hope that's compatible enough with your hours over there in Oceania. Aw. They're grumpy because they got shot. Oh, for some reason, Ark, for some reason I thought you were in New Zealand. Wonder where I got that notion from. Okay. This is good. And yeah, Mexican Sting. I like the portraits too. I think that this goes a long way toward making all the samey models feel like they have personality. Yeah. Food is at 109%. Yeah, let's put you there too. Ooh, this guy's barely hanging on. But when they are back in action, they're going to be good at making waffles. Did they combine? Where does Shinkawa art show up in this Mexican Sting? Oh, this. Are you thinking like this as Shinkawa art? Oh, interesting. I mean, it's obviously not Ashley Wood art. I don't know where else I thought it would come from. Now that I'm talking about it. Oh, I definitely want, yeah, that's what I want. Okay, so I have that. That's good. Grenade. I want a grenade. Stun grenade. I need things that go boom. I didn't know the cutscenes were blended either. Okay, so I want those stun grenades developed for the soldiers who are taking, or who are sort of providing security for that tank. So I'm going to do an outer op, or not. It's not an outer op. I'm going to do one of these things. It's like just target practice is available. Okay, let's do this.
The boss has infiltrated the area around the coastal supply facility and knocked out the soldier there. But we can't just
I believe it did have Wi-Fi recruitment. Actually, a really good question. I'm curious about that now.
Do it quickly before he comes to.
All right, alligator. Like they give you your Sentai Ranger colors. It's cute.
Survival.
Okay. They made the MSF game. They put the mission area within walking distance of your original base. How do you mean, Space Hamlet? And yeah, same Mexican thing. I really enjoyed.
Start talking.
I enjoyed growing my base.
Recovery helicopter is complete.
There he is.
Looks like that soldier's out cold. Try using Fulton recovery on him. Head for the recovery zone. We'll pick you up.
Oh yeah,
there.
you're right. I see what you're saying. Excuse me. I'm actually not sure what the relationship spatially is between the opening areas, which, you know, the main mission is still in that same continuous land journey. I'm not sure what the relationship there is between that and Mother Base. I don't think it's this. I don't think it's connected to the same beach that the tutorial was on. Alright, stun grenade is good. Cool. Aw. Sorry, donkey. I do like that little trawler there. Kinda going around. Is giving me nice FOB feels from MGS5. Actually, being able to drive around these things in the FOBs actually makes this more impactful to my imagination, because I have this sort of like sense memory of driving around these places. That's kind of cool. Controlled squads in real time as Big Boss. So that's kind of like, sounds like a almost an SRPG kind of thing, like kind of like an SRPG Outer Ops experience.
That's an armored vehicle unit.
Strategy RPG, like Metal Gear Acid or Final Fantasy Tactics or something. Tiger Strike. Where is my... Oh. I only have 2 slots for shooting weapons, I see. Oh, interesting. Oh, interesting. Inslee news thing popped up. Jay Inslee banned, or not banned. Maybe that's not the right word. Said stop gathering indoors because it's spreading disease. So, good on him. Cool. Yeah, Hamlet. I mean, honestly, there's no mission that's important enough that you can't stop to talk about lunch. I should have brought smoke grenades. Crap. Well, we'll see what we can do.
You've got to neutralize that armored vehicle somehow. The accompanying soldiers are armed to the teeth. Watch yourself.
Just your regular stroll around the yard. Jeez, these guys have got... Ooh. What happened to them? Throw it, dude! Oh, wow, they totally killed their own guy. Oh my god. Let's see if I can Fulton him out. Well, alright. Oh, cool. I've got more. Oh! Nope, I meant to get Love Box out, but oh well. Definitely Mate is the thing that I need to be bringing into this situation.
That's gotta be the leader. Can you take him down?
I gotta say, I appreciate the son of a bitch, but it's still no Josh Keaton as Ocelot son of a bitch. No, no, no. Alright.
Enemy leader neutralized.
Yeah, Mexican Sting. The fact that like Snake's love of eating everything is one of my favorite sort of like subtle jokes in MGS3. It's not referenced often, but the fact that like he wants to try to eat everything is fantastic. This is such an interesting repurposing of the unmanned vehicles from Metal Gear Solid 2. It's cool to see that design back and functionally the same. And yeah, Mexican Sting, same. I think we're about to get back to the point where there are rules clearly clearly stated, at least in Washington State. Ooh. Ah.
Amanda!
That's brutal.
Shoot it! She'll fall!
Shoot el Chico Libre!
Do I get to do this? I do, in fact. Yeah, Mexican Sting. I also like the one camo for the full mission approach. Makes it feel more grounded.
Chico.
What? What is it?
What did they do with Amanda in Ground Zeroes? I don't remember
Yeah.
her fate.
Chico.
Excuse me.
Hold still.
I treated him like a kid again. We fought.
Yeah, no, Amanda's like
I didn't
revolutionary
want Chico to
Meryl.
know. Kept it a secret.
I like how she also has Miller's kind of like a dandelion kerchief.
Across the Rio
Oh,
San
she's
Juan.
just keeping away her, keeping on, keeping on.
The only reason we've been able to keep on fighting.
Amanda.
The factory. You saw it?
Honestly, given how everybody's fates turned out in Metal Gear Solid 5, that might be the best possible outcome for her, to have stayed the hell away.
The KGB said
Really
that
kind of,
last round.
really sad. I don't know if disappointed is the right word, but I am sort of sad at how Huey turned out to be kind of sniveling.
Never said a word, but we all knew. Oh, everyone except Chico.
And yeah, Swedish X,
Everything we had.
broken,
Our weapons.
broken bones in general.
He brought it all
Not
together.
fun.
We were going
But
to
I kind of expect, and I don't know this for sure, but probably a sound designer's dream? Because it's definitely something that you're going to put in there that's going to get a real reaction out of people.
But it's all over. We lost our cacique. Papa. I could never replace him. Now they've taken the plant from us too. There's no place left to regroup. No way to fight la revolución.
Here, I rolled you.
Actually, I don't remember specifically what his betrayal was. I just remember him being set out to sea on a raft,
Must be important,
and just everybody hating
That
him.
way. It looks like it could be nukes.
What? Nukes?
Oh, he was a snitch? Oh, okay, that's right.
We must
Yep,
get
yep.
to Irasu. The transport route leads there. It must be where they're holding Chico and my
Yeah, that's a
papas
gut
too.
punch insofar as you're kind of looking at Huey as an Otacon surrogate and
Goes off to be by
a proxy.
himself.
And
That's why he knows
oh, your
more
good
than
feelings about
anyone
Otacon
on
are
the
put onto
bases.
Huey, and then you find out Huey is a rat, and yeah, it's bad times.
You're pretty worried about your.
And yes, I see that. I see what you're describing there.
This is why I'm not fit to be a leader.
Mexican Sting. That's interesting. I've never noticed that before.
Fine. It's a little bit out of my way, but just tell me where I need to go.
There's a prison.
This is also where it's not really making me hate Big Boss. It's you know, Merc Warlord with a heart of gold, and as long as you got that heart of gold in there, it's hard to really view somebody as a full villain.
Can't save Chico. I want you to ease his pain, end his humiliation. If he gives in, if he's about to sell out his compass, please.
I'd forgotten this by the time Ground Zeroes rolled around, but man, Chico's really got a bad habit of getting caught, thrown into interrogation camps.
We gave up our homes, but we're still alive. We're still fighting. And there's always another reason to keep on living.
This is, I don't know, this is, actually a side of Big Boss that I really enjoyed seeing, knowing that he became, evil, but actually getting to see live, the sort of charm that he was able to put on all the, you know, former members of Foxhound and things like that, where Sniper Wolf, recounts how, she was brought into Big Boss's fold because he was the only one who kind of saw what her life was like, and who she saw her limits and her, you know, potential. Like, you get a sense that a lot of people really love him for what he did for them in their brokenness, and getting to see that live it was very effective. And I still have I have a hard time buying evil Big Boss at the end of MGS5 because it is so at odds with how the character has been portrayed up until that point.
Can you hear me?
MSF here.
Saladin, yes, thank you. That's the slant on him.
I was right. It's headed for the mountains.
You think that's where they're taking the nukes?
I'm sure of it. Let's move.
Oh, right. He set up the inspection on the old Mother base. I forgot about that, which is one of the reasons why he was occupied or something. I remember this now, yeah. All right. All right. And T-chips. What it looked like when your brand partners back out of a particular region's version. No Doritos for you. Oh, and canned soft drink. My favorite snack accompaniment. And yes, solid is absolutely the operative word.
Snake, Amanda's reached the plant.
Snake,
Amanda, how do you feel?
some first helicopter ride. I'll be perfectly happy if it's...
Yeah, Iceman Dan, I as well see him as sympathetic in that regard. Just given the fact, I've been watching, as I mentioned on stream, a lot of the old sort of like samurai movies, and a lot of those, you know, 60s and 70s samurai movies, along with Kurosawa's catalog. And a lot of those movies really have to do with the relationship of somebody who was formerly an insider, is now an outsider, or has no place to go, or the whole Ronin problem. And I really see Metal Gear being a story in the bigger sense that's very much in that tradition. Those are some of the same problems that they're grappling with.
Yeah, I know.
This is a clan of samurai without a lord, in a sense, is kind of a slant on that I'm seeing lately. And I think that is a very sympathetic position to take in, you know, if you view nations as analogs for, like, your, you know, shogunate clans and things like that.
They can also monitor everybody's health.
Right. Prevention is the best medicine.
You got it.
Yeah, Palm Primus, I have to agree. A lot of the fan theorizing about MGS5 prior to its release was a lot of fun. That is one thing that I am kind of sad about with Metal Gear being effectively done, is that sort of dogpiling of enthusiasm and speculation based off of trailers and things like that. That's just thought, for Metal Gear at least, that's done. And it's a little bit sad. Yeah, Mexican Sting, I think for me that comes out in really what's revealed or sort of like forefronted about him in Metal Gear 2. Like, there's the one side where he's like taking in all the Ronin, giving them a place, giving them a life where they can respect themselves. And then the other side of it is the child soldier thing, right? Where he's actually generating a nation founded on war and perpetuating it such that he instills it as a value in people like Solidus did with Raiden. So there's an admirable side and a dark side, and both of them very intensely what they are. MF, yeah, Three Outlaw Samurai. I was actually talking about that with a friend today because I watched Sword of the Beast, which has two of the actors from Three Outlaw Samurai in it, the noble one and the opportunistic hedonist samurai from that movie. They both have principal roles in Sword of the Beast, which is good. It's a lot of fun. It's got a lot of really good sword fighting scenes, so it's very very punchy Chanbara. And I think Swedish X, I think one of the reasons why, like, Fox's absence in MGS5 is kind of weird, especially if you have been paying attention through, especially if you were paying attention through, like, MPO, where Gray Fox shows up as Soldier Zero or something. Anyway, he's, like, got a machete, and he does as many ninja flips as you can within that engine. And then he's just, like, gone until, you know, Metal Gear 1. So there's kind of a noticeable gap if you're expecting things to be resolved, I felt. And yeah, Palm Primus, I would be interested in seeing new creative energy put into Metal Gear. I mentioned earlier on the stream that I would like to see Metal Gear 1 redone with you know, Venom's identity as the big boss, you know, with more knowledge of that in there. I think that would be a fun story to play through. No, that's it. Yeah. MPO Fox was, I mean, I actually forgot about it until now. Yeah, I didn't, yeah, I didn't feel much from that. Raiden Light. Yeah, there you go. Oh, that's a good sound effect. I wish I could listen to that again. Oh, Baileen's a fussy whale. Viper, wasn't Fox in MPO brainwashed or something, or they had some sort of mind control device? Oh no, my food's down to 93%. No, I don't want to view any tutorials. Alright, horse mackerel. Feed us. And seal. There you go. Butterfly fish. Alright, so you three know how to dispense Advil, so you are now our doctors. Yeah, I would rather a revisiting of Metal Gear 1 than a remake of MGS1 for my tastes, but I mean, I'm interested in what they do in either sense. Amanda does keep getting story beats in this game, yeah, but I think mainly it's over codec, or over radio as a support member. Oh man, yeah, Ghost Babel being brought back. Ghost Babel was good. Oh yeah, no, I mean, that's actually one of the things that, I mean, creatively has me kind of excited about that possibility. Well, I say possibility very loosely, right? But that it seems like that's an opportunity to revisit characters in a way that feels less retconny because it's very, I mean, it's archetypal in a way. Although, I don't know, I could see giving those characters better definition, sort of removing some of the function that Metal Gear 1 serves for games like Metal Gear Solid 2. The abstract nature of the story compared to the Solid series games really helps it be that sort of mythological foundation for what gets exploited as player experiences and community memories in Metal Gear Solid 2. Oh, Metal Gear Acid, yeah. I was testing the new stream layout last night and playing Metal Gear Online as the test, and I had Metal Gear Acid 2's music on there, and it's so good. It's such a good soundtrack.
I hope nothing's happened to Amanda's brother.
I hear you. There may be other Sandinistas held there too. To bring them back safely to MSF, use the Fulton recovery system. As I'm sure you know from
yeah, Viper, 80s action flicks, I'm behind it. My heart's there.
One other thing, Snake.
Amanda.
Those CIA bastards confiscated one of the houses
Is
in
it
the village. Chico's got to be
something
inside one of them.
Voight?
Houses, huh?
Something Voight is the guy's name?
When they took over the houses, they installed new front doors for security purposes. The new doors are blue with peepholes, so you can see what's inside.
This is a third art style. Before I address that, this is a third art style that is neither Shinkawa nor Wood, and it's I guess I'm just identifying that as another element in it. I think complementary art styles for the same characters is creatively interesting. Jordan Voight Roberts, that's it. I mean, my feelings on it are I will watch it when it comes out, and I think that there's something about it that I think would need to be a little different to make it make sense as a movie rather than a game, because I view those stories as so much game stories. They're so bound to the gameness of them that that even though it does seem obvious that they would translate well into being movies, I feel like there's something extra that would need to be done to make them compelling in the same way as movies. Vote. Jordan Vote Roberts. Thank you for that. I don't like mispronouncing people's names.
Not enough room, huh? We'll keep it here at the base.
What? There. Oh, what do we have? wild. They have this MPO music there. Can I select my songs, or is this just like an actual Walkman where I can't fast forward? That's cute. They've got the old Walkman logo there with the feet and everything. Yeah, MF, I agree. That's why I'm not particularly down on the idea. That's interesting, Dreambomb. I remember Kojima mentioning that his inspiration for Snake's appearance, I think, was Christopher Walken's, at least in terms of face. Yeah, speaking of Metal Gear 1, is this going to keep playing if I switch? Thank God. That was one thing about the MP3 player in Metal Gear Solid 4 that I felt was a real big missed opportunity, is it would only continue playing if you had it equipped, which is not really a fun way of implementing that.
Fulton recovery subject confirmed onboard helicopter.
Oh no! Okay. Really Mexican Sting.
Start talking. Start talking.
Enemy search? Oh, you're talking about game functions.
Start talking.
Fulton recovery helicopter is complete.
It's interesting. Like, I think you can hear the later alert sounds, alert musics, and the Metal Gear 1 alert phase tracks. The broad takeaway is trouble. Yeah, I mean, that's, I don't know anything about movies or movie making.
You won't get up there alone. With some help, maybe? Sniper, better be careful if you don't want your head blown off.
Oh, somebody's just doing target practice? Who is... Oh man, Metal Gear 2's music is some of my favorite from the series.
Nothing here. Nothing here.
I've seen...
Here he is. We found the enemy. Send backup.
Oh dear.
Dispatching reinforcements now.
Oh yeah, no, I don't want to cheese the alerts. I like embracing the challenge that the game wants me to, that the game wants to provide me. MF Dubes, yeah, one of the things that they did with the VR missions in MGS1 is they took the Metal Gear 1, and you might already know this, Metal Gear 1 and Metal Gear 2 musics, and applied them to that as a kind of a quick and easy soundtrack. Let this guy turn around. I'm gonna grab him. Nope.
HQ, come in.
This is HQ.
I actually don't recognize this song.
Understood. Return to base.
It's, oh, this is... Oh, okay. So this is not the full Metal Gear 20 Years History thing. I think this is NPO music.
Fulton recovery subject confirmed onboard helicopter.
Who is seeing me? There we go. Like how that sniper is just very stealthily giving away his position by continuing to fire his gun. Space Hamlet, one of the things that I will do, also grunting in frustration at his apparent lack of skill. One of the things that I will do is I will deliberately generate my own sense of drama by getting into the character while playing a horror game, and I am basically an event designer's best friend because I'm willing to read what they want to do and roleplay it. Actually, fine with that now. This seems like this should be sufficiently annoying.
Here he is. Enemy sight. Commencing attack.
Understood. Eliminate all hostiles.
What you gonna do from up there, buddy? Absolutely nothing. Oh, whoop. You come with me, though. Yeah, I'm on my way out anyway. Yeah, an invisible wall hugger for sure. Oh, hey, look, it keeps my alert status.
You can't go peeking into houses with the enemy on elevated alert. Forget about the houses for now. Wait for the alert to be lifted first.
Okay. Gonna bolt. They do a much better job of having these dudes run out of arm's reach than they did with CQC and Metal Gear Solid 3. Where you could just, like, eat 5 bullets and, and then just punch them. Or slam them to the ground. Okay.
Come in, HQ.
This is HQ.
This is patrol. Target locked.
Okay.
Going to alert status.
Understood. The enemy should still be nearby. Find him.
Yeah, Mexican Sting, it is interesting to me that they simplified CQC so much. All the different things you could do with it in Metal Gear Solid 3. I feel like they pared it back in Peace Walker and then built back on top of it in MGS5. Oh yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear that it helped, Swedish X. Yeah, the Foxhound series was a lot of fun to make. Even if it did take like 3 years.
Supposedly the houses being used to hold prisoners have been fitted with blue doors.
And yeah, Viper, that absolutely makes sense for why it's being pared back. That's kind of my gut theory for why laying prone is also very minimal. I guess that's him having a dream.
Enemy attack. We're being shot at. Going to alert status.
Understood. Dispatching reinforcements. Proceed with extra caution. They've got Chico locked up in one of the houses here. Find him. You can't go peeking into houses with the enemy on elevated alert.
Oh, let's
They've got Chico locked up in one of the houses here. Find him. Understood. Return to base.
okay. Good. Let's try this again.
Mama.
Just somebody else desperate for his freedom.
No one here.
Let's see. Oh, right, I can just do this. Alright, there's my T-chips. My taco chips. Let's, have a good old-fashioned brand engagement.
Start talking. Start talking. Start talking.
Just waiting to We need on Mother Base more sycophants. And I'm not being cheeky. Tell me how great I am at home.
Fulton recovery helicopter is complete.
Who's there?
Chico, it's me.
You're that photographer.
That's right. A war photographer.
Huh? I thought you were here for the birds.
Yeah, Viper, that's something I'm on the fence on the fence on for
Wow, the same kind of chair used.
You can't keep it, kid. Here,
how I feel about that
instead.
particular way of covering up that the lack of individual lines.
She's safe. Don't worry.
Evening Jacket.
Sure?
It's good to see you. We're
She's hurt.
going through some Peace
I
Walker
said,
here.
Don't worry. It's just a broken leg.
You got any cigarettes? A cigar, huh? Hey!
It's not for kids. Chico, do you know where they took the
Yeah,
cargo?
Mexican Sting, I can very clearly see the swapping back and forth between Ashley Wood art
Let me rephrase
and
that. How do they get stuff from the coast up here?
Shinkawa.
Oh, that I can tell you. When the cargo gets to the harbor, they first send it up the marshes on a barge. Then, they load it onto a jungle train past the banana plantation and transport it by rail. The train stops here.
I think both Wood and
When it gets to the
Shinkawa
train
have
terminal past the coffee plantation, they reload it
have
again.
the
This time onto a
their
truck, which
styles
disappears
sort of have
into a
like
tunnel
flaring
toward the mountains.
lines
Disappears.
and
What's on the
very
other side
heavy
of that
shadows,
Nobody knows.
so they're
None of
compatible
our compas ever got
in
close
that way.
He's protected by a spirit.
Spirit.
Yeah, a giant monster. El Basilisco.
I like how they
King of
they
snakes.
No,
make it
yes.
seem like, oh, simple locals taking giant robots and mistaking them for giant monsters, and then they give you an island with actual giant monsters.
Must have been 30 bara at least. He was walking on legs as big as trees.
Where did you see it?
At the terminal near the tunnel. But I only saw it that one time.
What exactly were you doing there?
Well, me and my sister got into a fight.
And you just happened to go camping.
You know, their train should be arriving at the place I saw El Basilisco right about now.
Is it far?
No, really. Go past the coffee plantation, and it'll be to the north. What are you chasing?
Something that could keep the world in balance. Or destroy it.
Huh?
I heard that place was a narcotics plant before those guys took it over. But you already knew
I haven't
that.
seen Dr. No. Maybe that's something I should put on my list of
Get
things
it.
to
The revolutionaries need to pay the
jump on.
bills.
I think I will do just that,
They'd
actually.
like you to swallow.
You're damn right it is. The route they use to transport stuff is the same one mi viejo used to smuggle drugs. He sold the drugs to the Norte Americanos and used the profits to fund the army. They tried to keep it hidden from me.
Is that why you went camping?
Yes. I managed to sneak into the plant a few times and I tried to set it on
See,
fire.
that's what makes him a convincing kid.
Everyone treats me like a child. I couldn't stand it anymore. I'm not a kid, I'm 12.
Couldn't do it though, could you? Chico, growing up means choosing how you're gonna live your life. To do the right thing, you sometimes have to leave the things you care about behind.
I haven't watched old Bond movies since I watched a lot of them with my dad, but have not seen many of them since being an adult. That would be a good thing to go back and revisit.
Papa,
Chico, look at the photos.
mi viejo.
I feel like we have similar memories,
There's one
sweeter
thing you
sex.
don't ever leave behind. Your memories. Keep them safe. You want to get out of here, Chico?
I do, but
Come back with me. Your sister's waiting for you.
I can't go back. I can't face everybody.
You told them where your compas are. I see. Nothing to be ashamed of. Pain gets the better of us all.
I wish I was dead.
Okay then. I'll put you out of your misery.
This seems like it should be a villainous big boss thing, but I can actually see Solid Snake doing this more overtly as a joke.
We're only going to kill a man.
But, yeah.
I just wasted a bullet. Don't waste your life. Listen to me, Chico. You died here today. You understand? You're hombre nuevo. A new man. Now, give that new life to me.
Huh?
Fight with me, little soldier. Show me how strong you really are.
Else, lacking the attempt to recruit, which I think is one of the things that makes Solid Snake different from Big Boss. I can see Snake. I could see Snake having a similar interaction with Raiden at some point.
Remember, real heroes are never as polished as the legends that surround them.
You got it, boss.
Snake is fine.
What's that?
With a kid, probably not Space Hamlet. I don't know. Big Boss seems to be a little warmer than Snake in many regards, but Snake seems to have a better sense of like what's things that are right. All right. So 1 second, I'm gonna refresh my water, and I'll be right back. And yeah, Jacket. It's you can tell like they really give that sort of like custom born again treatment to the faces of Outer Heaven / MSF, and I'm kind of unclear at what point the legend has grown, because it seems at this point Big Boss's outfit is pretty small. Maybe there's a turning point in the process or in the unfolding of the story that I'm not remembering. Entirely possible. It's been years where he gets that legendary quality. But yeah. All right. I'll be right back. been waiting for, the moment deferred. It's panda time. Let's make it through this minefield of junk I've got around my chair. There we are. There we go. Yeah. Look at the paws. Look at them hanging out like that. This is the quality creature. Something not visible, but something that I can feel, is how he does not really put up any resistance. Like a lot of cats, when they're being held, they try to kind of shuffle and shift into a position that they're more comfortable with in terms of their bones and their breathing and stuff like that. But he himself, he's just like, well, whatever, buddy. Well, looks like we're ready to get down. Ready to get down? Panda done? Oh. Yeah, I think we're panda done. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Thank you for showing a panda that you respect the panda, Viper. Ugh. Alright, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to call it a Peace Walker, but what I want to do, and now that I remember this, I'm going to cut the stream and load up the Metal Gear Solid 2 demo, because I do want to show that dynamic music on the Olga boss fight that, again, I don't think is carried over to the main game. That's kind of neat. So, one second, let's pull that up here. I also have the Metal Gear Solid 3 demo that was released with PSM long time ago. Oh, it feels so good pressing this button, seeing you got stuff, you got stuff, you got stuff! And it's such a good UI sound effect.
Chico.
And Chico's portrait there looks so different than my mind's image of him. From the Wood and Shinkawa art.
At least you got a nice view. Or are you afraid of heights?
Whatever. I just wish you would explain it to me first.
Would you have agreed to go if I did?
Thank you for saving us, Snake.
Amanda, a word of advice.
What?
Stop treating him like a child.
Yes. Yes, I know. You're right. I shouldn't.
Dude, he's 12. I mean, I guess intense circumstances make you grow up faster, but
I'm sure you've got Chico's future in mind when you say that.
Makes you appreciate maybe why Liquid might have turned out as neurotic as he did, being raised by a big boss.
Revolution or no revolution, you pick up a gun and sooner or later you're going to hell. Are you prepared for that?
I am. If the alternative is giving up the country I love, I'll take hell.
Really? Well then, you're gonna have to stop treating Chico like a brother and start.
Yes, Mexican Sting. It is in Japanese, and it has the cutscene of Snake jumping out of the plane with Paramedic and Major Zero, but it doesn't include the whole conversation with LBJ and everything like that.
Not just that, because they're compas.
At least I think, or no, The conversation with LBJ happens before Operation Snake Eater. In Virtuous Mission, it's... What is he doing? Just having a conversation with Zero. That's right.
Let me know if you encounter any wildlife you've never seen before.
Never seen before? What, like that basilisco you were talking about?
I'm talking about UMAs.
UMAs?
You know, like ancient dinosaurs or legendary monsters. One day, I'm going to be a hunter.
Is that right? Okay.
I can see that. It is, it does sort of, take some of the adrenaline out of the moment, doesn't it?
Okay, Snake. The enemy's cargo is headed for the next outpost, a rail terminal.
Chico says no one's ever set foot past there.
Their main base is probably on the other side of that tunnel.
You know, that actually makes a lot of sense. The way they did Snake's conversations with Campbell on board the sub felt really good, and it made me feel like I was investing extra effort into watching those things too. I feel like I was doing something like secret.
Listen to this.
Let me guess. You want to start running ads in the local
same.
gossip rags.
Please, what do you take me for? I thought that with all the new guys we've got, we should get an intel team going. We'd send agents around the country to scout out different locations.
And this is our outer ops moment. Yeah, this is where Big Boss's Merc system starts to grow. Yeah, I do too. I like the, I also like, can you change the angles? I remember you can change the angles in Twin Snakes. I remember that because they actually motion captured and put those to the character models, which took away some of the charm from them, I think. But I know they changed angles in the original PSX one. I just don't remember if you had control over that or not. One thing I do regret getting rid of is my copy of Twin Snakes, because that is now in short supply now. Alright. Ah, I'm envious. If I, transfarring. Because cloud data is proprietary. So, okay. I'm going to cut the stream. I'm going to get the PS2 set up. It's not going to take very long since it's all right here. I just need to get the appropriate components in place, pun unintended. And I'm going to be back with the MGS2 demo. Transfarring.